and players smiling.
But Michael Jordan is not only the best basketball player, but he's the most exciting basketball player to ever play.
Tatum fires away, pumps it in, 51 for Jayson Tatum.
The Big Three NBA podcast is powered by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Big Three NBA podcast. Ashard Blakely, Gary Washburn, Kwani Lunis here. And off the win of Team USA, both on the men and women's side, America bringing home gold again. But we're talking about the men's game specifically because, of course, it affects the Boston Celtics. Steph Curry, Chef Currying it up, 24 points, 8 made threes. Kevin Durant, 15. LeBron James, 14, 10, and 6. Olympic hoop MVP as well. And we can talk about LeBron and what does this mean for his legacy, because that's always the conversation. But let's honestly just get right into Jayson Tatum. He played 11 minutes, had 2 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal. But obviously we've been following the fact that he didn't see as many minutes as he expected in this Olympic season. So what did you two think about his answer? Gary, I'm sure you were there when he talked about what 2028 would potentially look like. Do you think he would reconsider playing for Team USA?
Go ahead, Gary. You talk to the man.
I mean, I think he's not going to make an emotional decision. It's 4 years from now. It's a long, long time. He'll be 30 by then. I think he's got a lot on his mind. He did not play his best basketball for Team USA. Let's just be honest. He was not good. He hit jump shots. He was thinking too much, in my opinion. But did he get a chance to work himself through it? No, he didn't. Like, Steph Curry wasn't good until the semifinals, and then he turned into the greatest shooter of all time, and he hit 17 threes in the last 2 games, and he carried Team USA to victory. But he was going to get ample opportunity, as was many other guys on the roster, to break out of their little slump. Jayson really didn't get that opportunity, and also he didn't play selfishly either. Like, if you look at a guy like Anthony Edwards, Anthony, when he got into the game, I'm going to go for mine. I'm going to get my buckets. Jayson was trying to play team ball. It didn't result in any substantive numbers, and he just didn't look comfortable out there. He was the second best player in Team USA in 2021 at the Olympics in Tokyo. I was there for that. Him and Durant. Durant was number 1. He was number 2. He had a couple of big shots in that gold medal game against France. This time, it just wasn't his time. And whether he'll review his whole relationship with Team USA, whether this will motivate him for the upcoming season, I just think it's a tough time. And he might have been tired, too. I mean, coming off the championship, not much rest. Obviously, family and friends there. It looks like he just had a second child, with his girlfriend, Ella May. That's got to play into it. Just so maybe a level of exhaustion for Tatum. I think we expect these guys to be superhuman. He's 26. He's never supposed to get tired. Maybe he was just tired. And then when you put KD and LeBron on the team, Jayson's going to shrink. Like, he's not going to get the spotlight. And Curry and Embiid. So I think it's a matter of just him being in a bad situation, definitely not playing his best basketball, especially offensively, and just being in the circumstances where, as we saw, Steve Kerr really liked Devin Booker. And I think that was something that maybe caught everybody by surprise, that, like, he really, really liked playing Devin Booker in those situations. And I'm sure that affected Jayson too.
Gary, I don't want to make any excuses or even go deep into why Tatum didn't play well. To me, it came down to opportunity. He did not get an opportunity to work himself into being an impact player the way a lot of other guys on that team did. Durant had the one really good game, after missing some games, but he had a number of duds too. Steph Curry, as you pointed out, was not very good at the start. Anthony Edwards came in there shot chucking. And yes, there were some games where he was absolutely that guy. But there were some games where he was just basically shot chucking and not really making an impact at the other end of the floor. And you start looking around at all the guys around Tatum, they each had moments where they were able to break through because they had an opportunity. They didn't worry about playing 3, 4, 5 minutes, and that's it. Tatum either didn't play or played a very limited role, and that's unusual for a guy that young who already had experience at the Olympics, had proven himself on that grandest of stages. To not get that opportunity is odd. As far as whether he's going to return to Team USA, when they come to LA in 2028, I think that between now and then, there's going to have to be some bridge rebuilding on the part of Team USA with Jayson, and not the other way around. Because Tatum has established himself as one of the best players in the NBA. I don't think there's any doubt about that. What he experienced is more about Team USA than it is about any shortcoming in his game. Because you're right, Gary. He did not play great. But considering the amount of minutes that he was allotted, you put any one of those other guys in that same situation, they're probably not going to play as well either. And it gets to the point where when you're a player of his caliber and you've had the kind of success that Jayson Tatum has had throughout the course of his career, there's an unspoken but expected level of opportunity that you feel that you have earned. And he did not get that. There's no doubt about that. And so I do think that he will play in 2028, but I do think between now and then, Team USA is going to have to make it right. They're going to, or not make it right, make it better than it was. Because Tatum, I can tell you right now, he's going to have to. I think his situation, in many ways, Gary, because you brought this up in an earlier conversation we had. I think in many ways it'll be similar to Joel Embiid as far as no matter how you play, there are going to be certain unspoken but understood guarantees that you're going to get if you join our team. And I think Tatum is going to be in that position because for Tatum to not be given an opportunity to play a significant role in 2028, that's a major problem for Team USA. And it speaks to some of the issues that Jaylen Brown has talked about how, it's very cliquish. But we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but if you're Celtics fans, you are absolutely just pumping your fist right now to see this happen to Jayson, because I don't care what Jayson told y'all in Paris. That brother is coming back with a list. He will have a list of players, teams, coaches, Steve Kerr at the top of that list, that he will be looking to put in the crosshairs of his offensive assault this season. There is no way that Tatum is going to go into the season thinking, I'm just going to try to be better. Oh, hell no. It ain't about being better. It's about blasting all the fools who kept you on the end of the bench doing, forcing you to be the Olympic version of ML Carr, waving your flag, cheering on these other cats. Oh, hell no.
Well, I'm going to say, though, you got to look at the numbers, Sherrod and Kwani. Okay, if you look at the production, okay, 3-point shooting, okay, Steph Curry, 48%, Kevin Durant, 52%, Devin Booker, 56%, Anthony Davis was 50%, he didn't take a lot, Anthony Edwards, 48%, like Drew Holiday, 50% from three, Joel Embiid, 54%, Jayson, 0, right, he didn't take any.
How about minutes played?
17.7, he missed a game, but so he missed 2 games without question. But if you compare the numbers between, let's say, Anthony Edwards, who played less minutes per game, Anthony took 3 more shots, but he was also hitting those shots. 58% from the field in the Olympics, 68% on twos. Jayson was 38% from the field in the Olympics, 47% on twos, which was lowest on the team. So Jayson's got to fix his jump shot. Like, that's another thing, too. This is not all on Steve Kerr. And I'm not supporting what happened with Jayson. He should have been playing every game, but he averaged less points. Derek White averaged less points because Derek White didn't take a lot of shots. Jayson took 5.3 shots per game in his time out there compared to, let's say, Anthony Edwards, who took 8.4, who played less minutes. Anthony was getting them up. But the shorter three-point line, a lot of guys took advantage of that, obviously. Because if people say, well, Booker was 57% from the field for the Olympics, 56 from three. Like, that's very good, right? Anthony Davis, let's talk about 50%. Anthony Edwards, 48. So a lot of Drew took 3 3-point. Jayson only took 1 3-pointer per appearance. He missed them all. He was 0 for 4. So he just wasn't himself. He wasn't taking shots. And then the shots he's taking, he was not hitting them.
Why do you think that it was, though, Gary? Like, why do you think he...
I think that...
Because he's tired?
I think seeing him, I think he was hesitating. He was thinking too much. He was trying too hard. He was 8 for 21 in the Olympics, 0 for 4 from 3. Like, some of those shots, he missed some layups. He made some turnovers. Defensively, he was solid. Rebounding, he was solid. So, he had 21 overall rebounds in the 4 games. So, no, he did his job in other ways. 5.3 rebounds per game in his short time. But if you look at the shooting numbers, he was not producing offensively. And
Gary, I still go back to the fact that I just think Steve Kerr got in his head. It wasn't the competition.
I think it was mental. I don't think Steve Kerr meant to get in his head, but I think Steve Kerr had a liking for Devin Booker. As he said at the end of the press conference, he pointed out without provocation, Booker was this, Booker was doing great. Booker is an unsung hero on this team. And so he liked Drew, he liked Derek, maybe there just wasn't that role that he felt. And obviously, Jayson did not get a chance to work out of his slump. There was no easy game. Maybe the Puerto Rico game, he could have done that. Something. There was no okay, here's a 40-point win. Okay, Jayson, go out there and score 20, 25 points. Go out there and get it back. He just didn't have an opportunity. And once it got, the Serbia game, I don't know what it was about the matchup with Serbia. I thought he could have helped, especially the second game where they almost lost. But Jayson didn't have the best resume either. I'm not going to completely put this on, he was doing great and Kerr screwed him over. Jayson didn't convince him, you need to have me on the floor. Devin Booker did. And Devin Booker made plays, and I'm not going to – you just look at the numbers. Right. He didn't play Anthony Edwards a whole lot. Anthony was kind of a turnover machine at times, but Anthony had more of a selfish attitude, and maybe that's what Jayson needs to have is I'm going to get my shots up. I'm going to I'm going to get my shots up. There's no way that he should have taken 4 3-pointers in the Olympic tournament. That's it.
Right. And the point that you made, Gary, though, I think it's a really good point, is Steve Kerr had confidence in Devin Booker. That was before he started playing him all these minutes. That confidence seemed from the jump that he had in Devin Booker. And if you're Tatum, you're smart enough, you got a high enough basketball IQ to just kind of know, you can read the room. You can tell that I'm not going to get much burn no matter what I do. And so I'm just going to try to do as much as I can, as quick as I can. And so then you start thinking. And then rather than just playing the game, it just felt like Jayson was never comfortable in his own skin out there, in part because he had a coach that didn't believe in him. And I think for Tatum, that might have been the first time in his career ever where he felt that way, that he had a coach that did not believe he was a great player who could help this team being on the floor. And if you think about that, I mean, Tatum is the highest paid cat in the game right now. And to be in a situation where you're playing on a team where the leader, the head of that snake, is the head coach, doesn't believe you're good. Forget about being the best player. He doesn't even think you're good enough to be in a team. You are, let's face it, all the top 10 guys are at the main table, and they put you at the kiddie table. Tatum was at the kiddie table on the Olympic team. And for the highest paid player to be at the kiddie table when everyone else is feasted and eating good, that's just not normal, particularly if there's no injury involved, there's no attitude issue. And as you pointed out, Gary, he was doing all the things except knocking down shots. But if you've got a mental block or you've got a mental impediment going on, which in this case I think was Steve Kerr, you're not going to be the best version of you. You're not even going to be an average version of yourself. And again, that's why, I think Tatum is going to be on an absolute massive mission this year. Tatum is going to be on the MVP. He's going to be in the MVP race from the jump. I expect this is going to be the best season that we see. And when you start looking at his roll call of teams that he absolutely obliterated, Golden State going to be up there. Devin Booker is going to catch a strike. Devin Booker didn't do nothing wrong, but Steve Kerr put you in that spot. And so Tatum's like, okay, if that's your boy, I'm going to show you why I should be getting burned over your boy, doing Mr. Everything. I'm going to show you a little bit of everything. Devin Booker's going to catch some strays. And I feel bad for Devin Booker because I love what I saw out of him. This was the best I've seen Devin Booker play over a stretched period of time. He was really good, but Tatum's better. If we're being honest and truthful about it, Tatum is a better player than Devin Booker. I had Dwayne Rankin on, he was on last week, and we talked about just the impact of Devin Booker. And this is the Devin Booker that they think if you put him in the right situation, he could be this good. Phoenix, that's another story another day. But bottom line is Tatum is going to be so much better off in the long run for having gone through something like this. Because I guarantee you he's going to make a point of never allowing himself to be put in a situation like this where he isn't getting any burn for no reason other than the fact that, well, the coach just doesn't want to play you.
Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. For the mathematically challenged, that means you can turn $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stat projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. As someone who's been using Prize Picks for a hot minute now, I can tell you right now, players and the stats that I'm looking at as we look into this week, I'm going to take Brittany Griner getting less than 18.5 points when they face Chicago. And I'm going to go with the less on Camila Cardoso, who plays for Chicago, getting 17 or less points and rebounds combined. And if you want to get in on that action and other action, it's real simple and it's always fun. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah, well, you tee it up perfectly, because the next point I was going to make is the fact that, well, the question that you kind of both alluded to and answered already was whether or not this was going to be motivating for Tatum this upcoming season. Former Celtic Jeff Teague said the similar thing on his podcast, basically saying that Team USA ruined everything for the NBA now because they just built a dynasty. And the fact that now Tatum has a chip on his shoulder when you already had Jaylen upset with Team USA. And I'll quote Teague at the end. He said, they're going to come out blank. Brown is mad he was left off. Now you're telling Tatum he's pretty much the worst of all the elites. So, again, I think the Team USA just messed up. And like you said, there are a lot of bullet points, circled dates on Tatum's calendar for that revenge tour. But actually, let's just get right into it. Pick and roll. JB, Tatum, do you think they are seeking a season-long revenge tour? Are you picking? Who are you picking?
Hell yeah.
Are you rolling with them?
Hell yeah. I mean, they are going to make every game personal. They're going to, and personal from the standpoint of this, they're not going to be selfish in terms of jacking up every shot. They're just going to be willing to not only execute the game plan, but execute their opponent into a pulp. That is going to be, we saw last season, they beat not 1, not 2, but 3 teams by 50 and some change. I believe they will do that and then some. They might beat 5 or 6 teams by 50 and some change this year. They brought the whole gang back, and you better believe that everyone is going to fall in line, because when we get to training camp, I guarantee you there will be some players who will talk about how they feel their best player was disrespected by Team USA. And part of their mission, in addition to trying to repeat as champions, is to exact a little bit of payback and revenge for just reminding folks that Jayson Tatum is still that guy. Jayson Tatum is still one of the best players. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tatum was the only first-team All-NBA player on Team USA. I think all the other players either were on other teams for other countries. And so it is absolutely going to be the revenge tour for Tatum. And Jaylen, coming off Eastern Conference Finals MVP, NBA Finals MVP. He's got the Boston Exchange popping. He got one out in Golden State Exchange.
Yeah.
That's not – keep teaming up with Jason Kidd, so he's trying to bring some money and try to build that generational wealth.
Okay,
He's looking to get others paid, and he's looking for a little bit of payback of his own in the basketball kind. And I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. I think this might be the year where the Celtics might have not one but 2 guys on first-team All-NBA. I can absolutely see that happening. I think Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown could assert themselves as the best tandem in the NBA and certainly position the Celtics to repeat as champions. Because, again, they got the whole gang back, and you've got your two best players about as motivated as the two best players on a defending champion may have ever been. I don't know if we can look back in the annals of NBA history where you had two players who are clearly your best and second best players who go into the following season after winning a championship who have legitimate beef about feeling disrespected. Jaylen Brown, the accolades that he received, and then the guy that they have to replace plays your position. Kawhi Leonard and Jaylen Brown they're not the same players, but they're very similar. And, again, I had issues with Jaylen not publicly, supporting Derek from day one, which he said that, he did that behind the scenes. That was my only issue with that. But the bigger point that he was making was he should have been the pick, particularly when you look at the weight. And Derek White would have been like, cool, me and my family going to go to Cabo. So we're good. So Derek White was good. It's like play with the Olympics, chill with the family in Cabo. Either way, he's winning. So those two, I think, are going to have a definitely a different level of energy. That energy shift that Jaylen likes to talk about, it's going to be on from the jump. That energy shift is going to be on day one, and it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be really fun to watch because, like I said, they each got their own list. There will be a little bit of intersecting in that list. And Gary, we know about players when they have that list. There's certain games we see every year where this player had this matchup on their list. It could be something as simple as that dude's, we played a card game and he didn't pay me when he should have paid me. Or it could be something as simple as he got playing time when I should have been playing over him. And I'm going to show him, I'm going to show his coach, I'm going to show his mom and daddy in the stands why I am better than him. And I will let them know that the entire night. We're going to see some of them games from Tatum. Tatum has the reputation of being real low key and quiet and not all that demonstrative. I think this is going to be Tatum's coming out party this year. I think he's going to be extremely vocal, not only in terms of his words, but I think his play is going to be a little bit louder and a little bit edgier than we've seen in the past. And again, if you're Celtics fans, you might want to send a thank you card to Steve Kerr. You just might want to send a thank you card to Steve Kerr because I think Steve Kerr may very well be that one missing piece that so many of us have wanted to see come out of Tatum, and that's just the angry Tatum, the pissed off Tatum, the Tatum that will not allow himself to be disrespected, will not allow his franchise to be disrespected, and play with that edge, that anger that I think he has inside of him, but we just haven't really seen that much of it. I'm looking forward to this season. So Steve Kerr, shout out to Steve Kerr.
Gary, do you agree?
I do think that this is an unusual offseason very much for a defending champion, where generally as a defending champion, you're in the streets, you're partying, you're celebrated, everybody's telling you how great you are. It's like the old Temptation song, Standing on Top. Everybody tells you how great you are, a superstar. Do you have any money to lend? And so everybody's telling you you're amazing. But for Jayson and Jaylen, no one's telling them how great they are. Team USA both told them you're not great. You're not elite yet. You're
not even good enough to be on the team, Jaylen.
You don't get the respect you deserve. You don't get the respect of other guys here. And so you're going into a season where motivation might be an issue because you've already gotten over the top. You're motivating them. So I think that's a good thing for Celtics fans in terms of motivation won't be an issue. They didn't live fat this summer. They didn't get out of shape this summer. They didn't get to go the tour and get everybody, around Boston, of course. But outside of Boston, there's still that, people saying Tatum's not an elite player. Oh, why are you complaining? They won the gold. Jayson wasn't that good. All that, and the same with Jaylen. Why Jaylen crying? So they both, your top two players, go into a season after you win a championship with major motivation. And I think that's unusual because obviously when you win a title Everybody, as I said, telling you how great you are, a superstar. Do you have any money to lend? And they haven't been told that. They ain't nobody asked. Somebody might have asked Jace for some money after he signed a contract. But they aren't telling everybody how great you are, a superstar. They're not doing that. They are belittling their NBA efforts, belittling their personal gains. And now it's up to Jaylen and Jayson to come together, join forces as they have, and say, okay, dudes, okay, guys, like, okay, Jayson, okay, Jaylen, we both got a reason to be mad. Let's go in here and let's just beat everybody down. Starting with the New York Knicks on opening night. Everybody trying to come after us. Okay, you want Boston, you got Boston. Now, whether that happens remains to be seen, whether that motivation, how long it lasts, how Joe Mazzulla deals with it, how the other guys on the team, I think they'll be motivated for them. But I do think it's an unusual situation where the Celtics go into this season with a chip on their shoulder just as much as other teams, because now we get back to the NBA season. Team USA is over. And it was sad. It was sad to see Jayson, because you thought, oh, Jason's a mainstay on this team. And then to see him kind of relegated to just a guy, it was hard. I felt bad for Halliburton. Halliburton's a good ball player. And Kerr just decided right away,
he's
you're not.
Sport, though. Did you see his tweet? He said,
no, it was cool. He accepted it. But he's also 23. People like, well, why can't Jayson do that? Because Halliburton ain't first team All NBA 3 years in a row. Halliburton's they're saying like they're not at the same place in their career. So no, Jason's not going to turn around and have a tweet when you didn't do nothing on the group project, but you got an A. That's not Jayson.
Yeah.
Jayson doesn't
different. It's different for Yeah,
Halliburton's at a different spot in his career. He plays for a kind of a team that came out of nowhere in Indiana. This was his major breakout year. Yeah. Right? He's had 2 really good years after being traded from Sacramento. So they're not in the same position. So I don't, we should act like Halliburton.
No,
Halliburton was his first Olympics. He was just glad to be there. He's like, I'm on this team with LeBron and KD, dudes I played 2K with. Like, I'm not going to say nothing. I'm 23. LeBron 31.
That's the beauty of it.
But Jayson feels a little different. Yeah. He didn't had wars with LeBron over 7 years, wars with KD, playoff series with KD, playoff series with Steph. Like, he feels like he's more one of their peers. He's not the understudy now. He's the next coming generation, like with Bam Adebayo and Booker and those guys born in the mid to late 90s. Yeah, they're not, Curry and LeBron and Steph are 80s babies. These dudes are the 90s, right? But to me, Jason's got to get some rest, first of all. I just think maybe he's a little tired, probably a new dad for the second time. Take care of your family for the next month and a half. Go on vacation, get some rest, then get back in the lab, work on the jumper, because that's a concern. That is a concern for me that his 3 wasn't falling in the playoffs. His 3 didn't really fall. Like, he's got to get that 3 back. And then Jaylen, I think he's already been working out. Jaylen will be fine. But come together and just say, hey, God, like Jayson, Jaylen, look at each other and be like, this is us. Like, we're taking out all suckers. And so that's the mentality they need to have. And let's see if that happens. I
can't wait. Here's the thing. And don't say anything about what I say. Here's the thing, Gary. Shut up.
When somebody says, here's the thing, Kwani, we know they're lying, but go ahead.
No, but no, all seriously, I mean, I've talked with players who've won, and Chauncey Billups specifically, him and I, we've had this conversation, and he has talked about how as hard as you think it is to win a championship is even harder to repeat, because you know that every single game you play, that team, no matter how good or bad they are, they're going to play better than they normally do because it's you. And so you have to you can mentally prepare yourself for that, but that mental preparation is nothing compared to what you're actually going to have to go through. And one of the things that, not just Chauncey, but other guys I've talked to who won titles have mentioned is how motivation is really hard to come by because you've already been through this gauntlet and you knew how to be the last team standing. You've done that before. So it's not like you're entering into this uncharted territory. But what makes this Celtics team so unique, as Gary pointed out and as we've been talking about, is the one thing that you always question championships having, which is added motivation, is not a question with this team. The only question that lies out there is how are they going to use this added motivation going forward? Are they going to go out there and absolutely annihilate teams? Are they going to use it in where they just kind of puff their stats, and maybe that doesn't necessarily facilitate winning? But there is going to be a different level of motivation that these defending champions have that no other defending champion in recent memory has had. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. I will have my popcorn ready to watch the show because I think this is going to be a phenomenal season for the Celtics. I think Jayson and Jaylen are going to have incredible seasons. I think both are going to be in strong contention to be first-team All-NBA. And I think the Celtics are just going to look even scarier this year than they did last year because last year they're playing great basketball, but they don't know how this is going to end. They're just thinking if we can just keep doing what we're doing, maybe we'll be the last team standing. Now that they know what that journey looks like and they're motivated to get back there again, not because they want to win it again per se, but because there's added motivation beyond that particular nugget, I think this team is going to be scary. And I think Jeff Teague was spot on. I think Jeff Teague said, y'all done effed it up for the rest of the damn league now, Team USA. Thanks a lot. 29 other teams are thinking, like, please play Tatum a little bit. Please play him a little bit. So I'm looking forward to the show because it is going to be made for TV. It's going to be big time, elite, top tier basketball. I think all season long. I don't think anyone is going to be spared. We're not going to get those Tuesday at Charlotte games. I don't think there are going to be too many of them. There will not. That's just not going to happen with this team. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Steve Kerr will have to be named Finals MVP if that's the case too.
Facts. You know what? If the Celtics wind up winning it again and Tatum gets MVP, it would be me. I'd be petty enough to be like, I just want to thank my family, my coach, Steve Kerr. Shout out to you, my man, Steve Kerr. I would absolutely give him a shout out.
And just like a wink,
Yeah. Be like, and my man, Steve Kerr, ping. Absolutely. Gary wouldn't do that because Gary's too classy for that, but I'm petty like that.
We need someone to be petty on this podcast.
We do.
It's summertime, and there's no better way to spend it than at the ballpark. Popcorn, soda, hot dogs. I'm starting to get hungry just thinking about it. Those games create lasting memories, and getting to those games is a lot easier with Game Time, which is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Now, being a Yankees fan that I am living here in Boston, I know it gets complicated and very uncomfortable from time to time, but keeping an eye on the AL East is a really big deal for me, as you can imagine. I know I can go to the Game Time app and jump on the best deals quickly. The color coding options at the ballpark make it super easy to see what are the best deals for the best seats from all the seats in that particular venue. And you can customize your search options based on your favorite team or your favorite team to watch. The Game Time app makes it super easy to get into the game, and you can't beat Game Time's lowest price guaranteed. And when you're ready to lock up your tickets, Game Time has all-in pricing, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. Hate when that happens. Take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
All right, before we wrap up, Gary, what were your takeaways from the land itself, Paris, France?
Looks like you got a little Paris action going on with that collar.
Paris is a great city. It's huge. It's for an American here. You can make it. I mean, there's enough people that know English or know a little bit, and you pick up the language a little bit. So it's been amazing. The Olympic tournament was great. The people are very nice. The food is interesting. You know, if you don't like escargot, there's a lot of everything.
When we
here.
say interesting, you know what that means, Kwani. When we say food is interesting.
Food is interesting.
It's interesting. Everything has cheese. If you like cheese, this is the place to be.
I do like cheese.
Chocolate. Everything has chocolate. And so it's a beautiful city. It's a huge city with a lot of layers. And I'm staying on one side, the western side now.
West side.
Very, very nice. And during the Olympic tournament, I stayed in more kind of the central part of the city where the basketball arena was. Mm-hmm. And you see the same things as other big cities, some of the homelessness and things like that. A lot of people, if the smoking rules are a little different here. So everybody smokes. They smoke in public places, restaurants.
Smoke indoors still?
No, they can't smoke indoors, but they smoke outdoors. So if you're outdoors or you're trying to chill, then two people will just be talking and smoking. The cigarette thing's a little different. But it's a beautiful city. I've been very impressed. I was also impressed with Lille, which is 2 hours north where the first week of the basketball tournament took place. That was a wonderful suburb. Just a lot of cool things. And I was very comfortable there and walked the city and just got a chance to see that area. So this has been a great experience. I'd never really been to France. I've been to Italy and remember Sherrod, we was in Italy and you got recognized and Sherrod Blakely. I was like, oh gosh.
Oh, that's so cute.
Outside the hotel, Sherrod acting like he's Samuel L. Jackson or something.
International.
Y'all recognize his fool in Milan. I cannot believe this. Let me go home. Let me get up out of here. I can't see this. I see this another.
Well, what can I say?
Exactly, JJ. But I had never really been to France, so it's been a wonderful experience. I have a lot of great pictures, a lot of great things, a lot of great thoughts, and so it's been a wonderful. And it was good to have an Olympics. Japan. It was a pandemic. Everybody had to wear a mask. It was very limited. You could only go for the first 2 weeks to your venue and back to your hotel. You couldn't be in the streets and that type of thing. So it was a great experience to see Japan, but this with kind of the limits lifted off and the limit and all that, and then kind of it's a freer Olympics. I think everybody kind of pointed out how it was cool and the fans were into it. They filled the basketball arena for the games. The women's game was fun, the gold medal game. To see unfortunately, Gabby Williams from France her feet were a little too long, but that was an exciting game, and just to see, I said, be on this. It's a pleasure and an honor to cover the Olympics and to be in this atmosphere. All the different countries, the reporters from different countries, you get to see them, meet them. It's so awesome experience so far.
Good, well done, Gary. And in 2028, be in LA, your hood. West Side.
Yeah. No, y'all can't stay with my mama.
I was going to say.
No. My mama ain't got no vacancies. She going to be right in the heart of it.
You should be down the street from the Rose Bowl, right?
My house is down the street from SoFi. So my mama house. My mama.
All right, well, tell her. I'm going to call. I got to get her number.
Down the street from SoFi, like a long walk, but it's a walk. You can walk it. So
Airbnb.
We'll see. Yeah, and the new Clippers arena right down the street. That's the hood.
Oh, mama could make a brick or two.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see talk to mama.
God bless.
Talk to mama.
Lord willing, everybody's still here 4 years, nothing. But 28 should be fun.
So that means we will be staying there. I love this.
Yeah.
Glad we sorted this out. I have somewhere to stay.
Exactly.
You can
My
stay.
son don't know, but I might be on his couch too.
Yeah,
he's still in LA.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
Facts.
Well, Sherrod and I were here in Boston, so I don't think we had much to say about the landscape. The traffic is still bad. I think the Sumner Tunnel just opened.
August 5th, yep.
The weather is getting better.
That's all we got for you, Gary.
Yeah, that's all. Thank you for living the luxurious life for us.
Okay.
We ain't got no baguettes. We ain't got no croissants.
Please bring us some croissants back.
But you can keep the snails, though. You can keep the snails.
Oh, no escargot for you? Okay.
Nah, we good.
But it was cool to, let's say, our friend Gershon Yabusele showed out.
Celtics legend.
That dunk on LeBron.
The Dancing Bear did a good job on LeBron.
He wants to come back to the NBA, so hopefully he gets a shot. I don't know if it's going to be the Celtics, but It was good to see Gershon because obviously, like our friend Sherrod's young son, Bruno Caboclo.
Oh my goodness, Sherrod's son.
Sherrod's son, Isaiah Caboclo.
He gave
like,
y'all
how did he go to NABJ and then play for Brazil? Like, that's amazing. Like, your son got skills.
And then dropped 30. And then dropped 30
on Team USA. I'm like, damn, Isaiah, didn't I see you on that NABJ panel? And you're like, wow. Unbelievable.
We got to get a DNA test.
Yeah, I know. Because
no, we don't. No, we don't.
Put them two next to each other. It's like, wait a minute.
No, we don't. We're good. We're good.
We should stop joking.
Sherrod got some Brazilian in his family. Anyway, good to see Gershon. Like, you saw him, he was a little too young when he got to the league, not quite as mature enough, physically hadn't got himself together. And now at 28, his body's right. You know, he's always going to be a big guy, but just seemingly confident in his game. And he wants to come back. So we'll see. I know he's got a year left with Real Madrid. He's got a Mark Stein report. He has a $2.5 million buyout. His buyout was $1 million before the Olympics started. So that's a tough one. Like, if he had $1 million buyout, I'm sure some teams would have looked into it. But hopefully he gets another shot, because I thought that it was good to see him mature like that. And I saw him in the Olympics in Japan, and he was pretty good there too. You could just see the growth. But unfortunately, a lot of these guys get bad advice, come into the league way too early. Teams give up on them, and then suddenly they're back overseas. So hopefully Gershon gets his shot, and then he's still got that bubbly personality. That was good to see him flourish.
Keep an eye out for Utah. Wouldn't be surprised if Danny tries to bring him back over. Wouldn't be shocked at all. Utah, I'd watch out for.
Okay. Well, on that note, until next week, we'll find something to talk about. You know, the Celtics news cycle never ends. For A. Blakely,
schedule
Gary
comes out, so
Washburn.
we can talk about the schedule comes out this week. We're starting to get little hints of the schedule, so we'll be able to talk about the full schedule next week.
Exactly. So stay tuned for that. Tell a friend to subscribe to the Big 3 NBA podcast. Until next week, Gary Washburn, HR Blakely, Kwani Lunis. Thank you for listening.